Okay, so I'm starting. All right, so we are on 102B.6, which is the muscular system. Okay, so why do you need to know it? Well, you're shaving, you're touching the head, you're doing haircuts. So knowing where the muscles are, knowing where the bones are, knowing how all of this works in conjunction with what you're doing can actually help you, do a better service, believe it or not, because some of the muscles and some of the bones while you're shaving could actually cut somebody or possibly cause bruising if it's not done correctly. So we'll just learn about these things. So do you know that it takes 17 muscles to smile and 43 muscles to frown? So smile. Right? When you're cold, your muscles contract involuntarily, which sends energy for warmth to your body. So there is purposes for these muscular systems. So let me pull up our slides here really quick. Give me a second to pull these up. Barbering. I'll talk to myself a lot this weekend. I gotta stop. I sound kind of crazy. Science, here we go. It's thinking, that little circle's twirling on the computer here. Okay, that's 6. And our slide presentation. So myology, myology, is the study of the structure, function, and diseases of the muscles. Muscles are about 40 to 50% of your body weight. Now, for me, I don't think that's true. But for normal people, probably, if you're not, overweight or anything. Here we go. Let's see. All right, share my screen. And we're gonna do this slideshow. There we go. Okay, so how many muscles do you think work when you take one step? A lot, right? Probably a lot. Okay. Oh, cute little baby. So there we go, myology. So what does our muscular system do? Well, it gives us some movement. It involves all other body systems. It gives us support, contour, and shape. Okay, so when we talk about muscular system, we have 2 types of muscle tissues, right? So we know that myology, if it asks you, what is the study of muscles? We need to say myology, okay? When it says, what is the study of the structure, function, and diseases of the muscle? You're gonna say myology. How much of the body's weight do muscles contribute to? 40 to 50%, okay? Functions of the muscular system. Movement, supports other body systems, supports the skeleton, contours the body. Okay, these are all the things about the muscles, what they do, or, how they're composed of and what the study of muscles are. So now we turn around with 2 types of muscle tissue. We have voluntary or striated. Okay, voluntary muscles. These are ones that we move at will. These are the ones that we can say, oh, put your arm out, and your arm goes out because we told it to, right? So this is our voluntary or our striated. Then we have our involuntary or our non-striated muscles. These are muscles that just work. They automatically work to control various body functions, like our internal organs. Our stomach, there's muscles that move and twist our food around. There's muscles that, like blinking can be voluntary, blinking can be involuntary, because you can make yourself blink, but then you're just going to blink no matter what. Holding your breath, right? I mean, you can't hold your breath for very long, but you could hold your breath breath for a minute, maybe a minute. I don't think I could hold my breath for a minute, but holding your breath is something that could be voluntary or involuntary, but most of the time we're just going to breathe, and it takes muscles to do this. Okay, so as a barber, you're primarily concerned with the voluntary muscles of the head, face, neck, arms, hands, legs, and feet. So practically like your whole body, right? So Friday night, I went and had a massage, and the girl was like on my back and like through my shoulders and my neck. I was a little bit sore on Saturday. I mean, it felt good while she was doing it, but it was a little bit sore on Saturday. By Sunday, I was fine, but it was good because I feel like all that tension just got released out of it, But of course, they have to learn way more muscles than we do. But, still, it's the same type of muscles that we're all learning about. Right. So the heart itself, the heart is known as a cardiac muscle. We only have one of those types of muscles in our body. Okay, it's definitely involuntary because we cannot control our heart, right? It just beats on its own. So with proper massage and skincare, muscles in the face become strong and tight, rejuvenating the appearance of the face. Facial muscles play a key role in contouring and the shaping of the face. Facial manipulations, such as like doing a facial, will help tone and tighten the muscles, which will support the skin and prevent sagging. So therefore, maybe we won't look as old as fast.
You're not switching the screen, are you?
No, not yet. I am now, though.
Okay.
Okay, so there's our cardiac, only one muscle, only one. So if your test question says, what muscle do you only have one type of? It's going to be cardiac, right? Because when it comes to the striated and the non-striated muscles, we have a lot of those within our bodies. So did it not go? No, it didn't. Okay. So there's some terms when it comes to this. Now, if you remember before when I talked about the bones and having to memorize like those 8 bones, right? Because we have 2 of each. These right here, these terms, let me go back to those terms. If you memorize these terms going along with the bones that go with your scalp and your face here, you can pretty much figure out some of the other ones because the nerves and the muscles kind of have the same names as the bones. But these terms right here will let you know where they're located. So the word anterior. Anterior means in front of. Okay, so posterior means behind or in the back. Okay, superioris means above or bigger, larger. Inferioris means below or smaller. Levitator means to lift up. Depressor means to draw down or depress. And dilator means to open up, enlarge, or expand. Okay, so some of these words are really kind of easy to remember, like dilator. So I always think of when you go to the eye doctor and they like dilate your pupils, right? They open them up really big and you have to wear those really funny glasses. I don't know if you've ever had that done, but it's not very comfortable. So, it makes it larger. If you're depressed, like for the depressor, if you're depressed, you're kind of down, you're kind of out, you're kind of like, so that one's a little easier to remember. Levitator, I always think of a magician that's going to like levitate stuff, make it just kind of float in the air because it's, bringing it up and it's just kind of hanging out there. If a product is inferior, it's below your standards. If something is superior, it's above your standards. Posterior and anterior, I always just thought of posterior as being like you're behind. I don't know why I remembered that, but I just remembered that. And then anterior would be in front of. So memorizing those, what are they, 2, 4, 7 with I think it's like 22 words. Would help you throughout this chapter.
You're breaking up, Ms. Carter.
can hear you. I think your internet is not good.
Yeah, you're breaking up, Miss Connie.
Have the belly and the insert. Okay, hold on. Let me check this. Okay, I went out and went back in. Hopefully that's going to help it. So now I have to come back. Is it better?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me go back and share this with you again. Okay. So these three parts of our muscles are the origin, the belly, and the insertion. Come on, get bigger. Okay. So the belly would be kind of easy to remember because, you know, where's your belly at? It's in the middle, right? So that one is a little bit, it's the middle of the muscle. So that one's a little bit easier to remember. Origin is non-moving or the fixed attachment to the bone. Okay, this term skeletal muscle refers to the muscle attached to the bone. So the origin, right, it's where it starts. It's like the fixed, it does not move. The insertion is the portion of the muscle that moves. This is joined to like the movable attachment of the bone or the skin. So the way I remembered this is if I took my key and I'm going to insert it into a lock or insert it into the ignition or wherever I'm going to insert it, it's moving, right? My key is the movable part. Whatever type of lock I insert my key into, that's staying there. It's not going anywhere, right? And that's the origin. So that's how I remembered that, because test questions are going to ask you, like, which is the movable portion of the muscle, which is the fixed attachment of the muscle, you know, what's the middle of the muscle, or where's the belly of the muscle located. So, you know, you do have to know these, and these will be, I guarantee you, these will be on the test, one of these. So I always just remember that my key is insertable. I can insert my key into, you know, the locks, but the locks pretty much stay where they're at. I can't move them around with me. So that's how I remembered that one. Okay. So muscles can be stimulated, right? Have you ever been to like a chiropractor and they put those little things on your little electrodes on your back and then your muscles like jumped up by themselves? Have you ever had that done? It's such a freaky feeling because it's done with electrical impulses. And this is how they stimulated your muscle. So you can stimulate muscles through massage. You can use the electric current like those TENS machines. Temperatures can actually stimulate muscles, like when you're cold and you shiver, right? That's stimulating muscles there also. Nerve impulses. So have you ever just been like sitting here and then all of a sudden something feels like it just zaps you and you just like jump, you're like, ah, and it just like gets you there or something like that? You know, that's your nerves actually sending an impulse to that muscle that's making you like jump out of the way. I did that one time when I was falling asleep. I just started like, sometimes my leg just jerks. It's weird. And then certain chemicals like salts can actually stimulate muscles. Certain types of acids and salts during products in facials can actually stimulate muscles also. So how does muscle produce movement? Through contraction, which is tightening the muscles, and then expansion, which is relaxing the muscles. Nick, when you lift your weights, that's exactly what you do, right? You're tightening your muscle. When you lift that weight up, it is tightening, contracting. And then when you lower it down, it's expansion, it's relaxing. So you're doing this, probably not even realizing that you're doing it. But, you know, when we move, we're tightening our muscles when we move because it takes that exertion to move. But then when we're done moving, we relax. So Muscle movement is produced through contractions and expansion, tightening and relaxing. Okay, so now we get into these scalp and face muscles. And these are the ones that we need to know about: shoulder and back muscles, shoulder, chest, arm, and hand muscles, leg and foot muscles. Okay.
There's only two that are affected by massage, right?
And the scalp, yeah. Right. We have our frontalis, which is the front of our head. So that was kind of easy to remember, right? Frontalis, front of the head, frontal bone. Okay, because that's the bone that muscle is attached to, is your frontal bone, your frontalis muscle. See how they kind of like have the same name, right? Just a little bit different. Again, with our occipitalis, right? Our occipital bone is the bone in the back of your head. When you reach to the back here, that kind of sticks out a little bit. That's known as your occipital bone. That's considered to be one of the most important bones in barbering and cosmetology. Notice that the muscle there is called the occipitalis. So we have those two. Now we have the top section right here that is actually what's going to pop up right here? Epicranium, right? Or the epicranius. Sometimes it's known as the occipital frontalis because it connects both of those together. But that is known as the epicranium. Epi meaning like above, and cranium is what your head is called. So if you understand these terms, you can actually figure out where they're at. Okay, epicranium, epicranius, frontalis, occipitalis. Those are the ones on the head. Okay, so really there's just those three. Now there's this tendon called the aponeurosis. It's like APONEUROSIS, and that is the tendon on the top of the head that connects all of it together. Sometimes it's called a muscle, depending on which book you read. Technically it's a tendon, but they call it a muscle. I don't know why that's happened, but if you see that word, just know that that's the top of the head also. Okay, so then we're going to move to the ears. Here's this anterior, superior, posterior. Okay, auricularis means ear. That's your ear muscles. So the way that I always remember that is audio, right? With audio, we hear our ears. So we have our auricularis anterior, with anterior being in front of, auricularis superior, with superior being above, and then auricularis posterior, which means behind. So we have three muscles on our ear. There's those terminologies again that you're going to see: anterior, superior, posterior. You'll be seeing these terms throughout this chapter. And just know that auricularis means ear, ear for audio. Can you move your ears? No, I've always wanted to. I don't know why. I remember, kids moving their ears up and down. I always thought it'd be kind of cool to do that, but yeah, I can't do it. I wanted to, but yeah, I can't. So we got three on the head. We got three on the ears. Well, actually we have six because we have two ears. All right, so we have six on the ears because we have two ears. We have three on the head. It's 9 muscles. Okay, now these right here, when we get to the face, there's a lot. I don't even know how many. There's a lot. They all work together. I mean, it's really, some people can move just one muscle, like how they can move their ears or how they can raise one eyebrow. I can't raise one eyebrow. I've tried. So sometimes they work separately, but most of the time these all work together. So the first one we're going to look at is your corrugator. It's located between the eyebrows. So what this does is it controls the eyebrows, drawing them in and down. So when you make that face, you're using that muscle along with some other ones, but that's one of the ones that you're using is the corrugator. That's a really popular one, the corrugator and the procerus. Those were kind of popular ones when they're doing facials, because those muscles right there have a tendency to get kind of tensed up a lot, especially if you squint or if you have sinus problems. Sort of massaging in those areas help reduce the pressure, and it just helps with some of the tension, like in your temple area, especially from squinting. So those are popular muscles. So the levitator palpebrae, that's a hard word to say, pulpebrae, oh, superioris. Okay, so there's the word levitator. You see that word right away. We know that that levitator is going to raise up, right? Superioris is above. But what's the pulpebrae? Well, that's you're like right above your eyelids. So this is what opens your eyelids. So when you open your eyes, that's the muscle that you're using. Okay. Your orbicularis oculi, that's the one that circles your eye itself. This is the one that you use to close your eye. Now, remember the orbicularis oculi, because when we get to the mouth, there is a muscle that's real similar to the orbicularis oculi. So the way that I remember that one is the two O's. Those two O's are round, your eyes are round. So it's going to help you remember that that goes with your eyes. And then you have your procerus. Your procerus is between the eyebrows across the bridge of the nose. So it's right between your eyes. Okay, this draws the brows down, wrinkles the area across the bridge of the nose. So see the corrugator and the procerus, they pretty much work together. That one works, but those are your eyes and nose. So you got 4 there. Then we go to the mouth. Okay, so the first one we're going to look at is your orbicularis oris. Now remember I said look at the orbicularis oculi, right? Now you have the orbicularis oris. They both have O's. So what you need to remember is the oculi, the I on the end of it is the eyes for your eyes itself, not only the O's, but the eyes too. When you get to the orbicularis oris, that one goes around your mouth. Well, what that's going to do is puckers and wrinkles the lips, as in kissing or whistling. Okay, or if you're gonna like suck through your straw, you pucker those lips, as in kissing or whistling. The quadris labii superioris. Okay, so the quadris labii superioris, or the AKA levitator labii superioris, consists of 3 parts, which that throws me off because quad I would think would be 4, right? But it says that it consists of 3 parts. Labies mean your lips. So superioris, that's your upper lip. So this raises both the nostril and the upper lip, as in expressing distaste. So if you don't like something, that face you make, that kind of face, that's the lip that you're using. So if that one's the upper lip, when we're looking at inferioris, which means below, right? That should be the lower lip. So what does that do? Well, this pulls the lower lip down or to the side, as in expressing sarcasm. So when you make that little smart alecky smirk, that's the muscles that you're using. Okay. Your mentalis is your chin. This is the tip of the chin. This pushes the lower lip and wrinkles the chin. So if you're pouting or you're doubting, right, that's the muscle that you're using, is your mentalis. The risorus is the corner of your mouth. This draws the mouth up and out, as in grinning. The caninius is above the corners of the mouth, and this is snarling. I always remember that because I just think of canine, right? And I think of a dog snarling, so I can always remember that one really easily. The mentalis, I can always remember because I'm always like, you're thinking, you're kind of mental, you know, okay, I can remember that one. The lip one is pretty easy, the mouth one, but when I get to the resorus, triangularis, I'm like, I always get those confused. So the resorus makes you smile, grin. The triangularis is below the corners of the mouth. What that does is it draws the mouth down as in expressing sadness. So that's your sad face. Your zygomaticus, okay, your zygomatics are your cheekbones. So your zygomaticus goes with that, right? Cheekbones, cheeks. This draws the mouth up and back as in laughing. And then your buccinator is between the jaw and the cheek. So it's like down here in this area. And this is what, if you're going to blow like that, that's the muscle that you're going to use for the buccinator. Okay, so 9, that's a few to remember. Okay, then mastication muscles. So mastication means chewing. So every time you eat, you use these muscles. Okay, you have 2. You have the temporalis. Okay, so that one should be pretty easy to remember, right? It's your temples, basically, because it goes with your temple bone, temporalis muscle. This opens and closes the jaws, as in chewing. And then your masseter covers the hinge of the jaw, aids in closing and chewing. So when you eat, that's what you're using. Look how small that little masseter muscle is, too. It's a small little muscle, do so much work for chewing, right? It's a lot. So then we hit our back and neck. And Dulce, you came in on like one of the largest and one of the longest and some of the most difficult chapter that we do. So you came in at a good time. Back and neck. Platysma. Okay. This extends from the tip of the chin to the shoulders and the chest. Right? This draws the lower lip and corner of the mouth sideways and down, partially opening the mouth as in surprise or fright. That's a big muscle. All the way down your chin to your shoulders, right? Your sternoid, cledoid, mastoid extends along the sides of the neck from the ear to the collarbone. Okay, so this one causes the head to move up and down and from side to side, as a nodding yes or no. Okay. The third one is your trapezius, flat, triangular, covers the upper and back part of the neck and shoulders, aids in drawing the head back and elevating the shoulder blades. That's the one where people usually get really tight in the back of their neck too, especially where you carry like all of your stress and that type of stuff right in that neck area and down your back and shoulders. Okay, and your latimus dorsi. Your latimus dorsi is a flat triangular, covers the lumbar, which is your lower back region, and the lower half of the thoracic region. So about from the middle to the middle of your back, the lower part of the middle of your back down to your lower back. And this helps you move your arms. This helps you move your arms a lot. Okay, so that's a lot of muscles. That's why there's over 500 muscles in your body, because there's a lot. When you get to your shoulder and chest muscles, right, you have your pectoralis major, your pectoralis minor. This is the front of your chest, aids in swinging the arms. So these are the pecs, as they say. Your serratus anterior is under the arm. Anterior again, right? Anterior. So there's that word, under the arm, lifts the arm and helps in breathing. Okay, your deltoid, that's your shoulder. It's a triangular muscle and it lifts the arm or turns it. Your biceps, primary muscle in the front of the upper arm, raises the forearm, bends at the elbow, and turns the palm of the hand down. Your triceps extend the length of the upper arm to the forearm, contracts forward movement of the arm. Okay, so like deltoid biceps, triceps, I mean, we should be pretty familiar with those words at all, if if you remember high school PE, I talked about those a lot. When we get to the supinator, okay, so the supinator is in the bottom portion of the arm, from like elbow to your wrist. It runs parallel to the ulna. So the ulna is this bone right here, or can you see this bone right here in your arm? The one that on the pinky side, that's your ulna. So what the supinator does is it turns your palm up, and the pronator runs from the radius, the lower part of the radius and the ulna. So it runs in the between, and this one turns your hand down and inward. Okay. The flexor is your mid forearm on the inside of the arm, bends the wrist and closes the fingers. So like when you make a fist. And then the extensor is from the mid forearm on the outside of the arm, and it straightens the wrist and the fingers. So all of these are like voluntary muscles or striated muscles. Okay, so we have our hand muscles. But I remember this being on my state board test, and I was like, yes, I know this, because I was so excited that I actually knew this question. So if we look at it, we have abductor and we have adductor. If you look at 1 and 2, there's only one letter that separates that. One is a B and one is a D. Okay, so if you're a abductor, that separates your fingers, stretches the fingers open. If you adductor, you're adding them together and you're making the fingers come together. I just remember, I was so happy though on my state board test when I had that, which muscle draws the fingers together. And I was like, oh, it's the adductor. I remember the ad. I want to add all my fingers together. I was so excited I knew that answer. So then you have opponents, which is the palm of your hand, and it causes the thumb to move towards this. So this is what gives you the ability to make a fist or to grab something. You're using your opponents. So little side note here, a little FYI. If you have a muscle cramp, there's several things that you can do, such as massaging, stretching, or icing the muscle, warming the muscle, or taking a bath with Epsom salts. For a cramp in the calf or in the back of the thigh, which would be like your hamstring muscle, try putting your weight on the infected leg and bending your knee slightly, or sit and lie down with your legs straight out and pull the top of your foot towards your head. For a cramp in the front of the thigh, which would be like your quadriceps, hold on to a chair and steady yourself and pull your foot towards your buttocks. Okay, so when they're saying a cramp, they're not meaning like the Charlie horse kind of cramps. They're just meaning like if your muscles get tight from like overworking, try to stretch them out. I was always told, oh yeah, when you wake up in the middle of the night, because I used to get, when I get cold, my calves will cramp up and I'll get a Charlie horse. And somebody told me one time, oh, when that happens, get out of bed and stand on it. I almost fell on the floor. That hurt so bad trying to stand on it. It was easier just to keep the muscle tight until it released on its own. Yeah, that hurt bad. So, but they're talking about like stretching and when they get tight, cramp up like that. So we get to our legs. So we have our tibulus anterior. This is the front of the shin, goes with the tibial bone, bends the foot upward and inward. Yeah, that word's definitely hard for me to say. Gastrocnemius, looking at the pronunciation, gastrocnemius. It's the back of the leg, attached to the lower rear surface of the heel. This will pull the foot down. So you have your peroneus longus, originates in the upper 2/3 of the outer fibula. Remember the fibula is the front of your shin. This causes the foot to invert and turn outward. Then you have your peroneus brevis, originates in the lower third of the fibula. This bends the foot down and out. Your soleus originates in the upper portion of the fibula, just below the knee to the heel, bends the foot down. extensor digitorum longus, geez, outside of the lower leg, bends the foot up and extends the toes. And the extensor hallucis longus is between the tibulus anterior and exterior, and it extends the big toe and flexes the foot. So how many times have you used those muscles and not even known what you were using? Like every day, right? Every single day. And then we get to our foot. So the flexor digiti hemi brevis. That's the small toe, base of the small toe. Flexes the joint of the small toe. Ooh, how many times have you kicked your small toe, like on the side of a door facing or on the side of like something, and oh, doesn't that hurt? I've done that several times. It hurts. So your flexor digitorum brevis, okay, across the ball of the foot beneath the toes. This flexes all of your toes. Your adductor hallucis runs along the interior border of the foot, moves the big toe away from other toes. Can you move your big toe? And then your abductor digiti minimi. I'm like, mini-me. Runs along the outside border of the foot and connects the heel. Moves the smallest toe away from other toes. I don't know if I can move my toes away like that. Okay, so we got true or false. What time is it? I haven't got time for this. Yeah, true or false. Myology is the study of the structure, function, and diseases of muscles. What do you think? True. False? True. Yeah.
True.
True or false? Muscles that respond to command regulated by will are referred to as non-striated.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna say true.
I'm gonna say false on that one. Non, right? No. Non means no. So this is commanding by will. That means we can make it happen. So that would be a striated. Okay, so remember, non means no. So if it's by will, it's not by us. Right? So 3 parts of the muscle: origin, belly, and what is my
Region?
key? What is it, Nick?
Is it region? I think.
No. Do you know, Josie?
Inserted.
Insertion. Yeah, pretty close. Close. Okay. So muscle movement, or muscles produce movement through contraction and
Relaxation.
also known as
I don't know.
expansion.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, think about when you take a deep breath. You contract, your stomach will smooth in when you take a deep breath, right? Because you're extracting it. And then when you relax it, like your stomach just kind of sags out. Okay. The muscle that extends from the forehead to the top of the skull and draws the scalp forward is same thing. The frontalis. Yep. Okay. The muscle that controls the eyebrows. Ooh, that one's a hard one. By drawing them in and down.
Let's
say, what did you say?
the frontalis. The one is
no, this is the eyebrows. So this is the one around the eyes. It's either the procerus or the corrugator. Like I said, I get those confused. You would think after all this time I would know all this stuff, but I don't. Okay, the muscle that circles the mouth. That one I do know. That one would be the orbicularis oris.
Oris or something.
Oris.
Like that.
Yeah. Remember, the oculi has the eye on the end of it, so that's for the eye. This is for the mouth, so it's going to be the oris. The muscle located under the arm that helps lifting the arm and breathing. That's the, I know that one too. starts with, or I'm not going to say what it starts with, but anterior is the second word. So that one's going to be
Orbicularis anterior? No.
serratus, yeah.
No, I said orbicularis, I didn't say polaris.
Oh, no, that's serratus. Sorry, it's hard to hear you guys. Oh, maybe I should turn the volume up. That could help. Sometimes I feel like right now, oh, turn the volume up so you can hear. It's so simple, and I don't even think about it till like the end of the day almost. The triangular shaped muscle that covers the shoulder and lifts or turns the arm. Shoulder muscle.
Deltoid.
Yep. The muscle that bends at the wrist and closes the fingers. Closes the fingers, wrist, fingers.
They bring them together. When they
Which-
bring them together. And the
Yes, I think so. Adductor.
abductor, yeah.
I think that's the answer. We'll find out. Okay, true, false, insertion, expansion, frontalis, corrugator, orbicularis, serratus anterior, deltoid, flexor. Oh, darn, we were wrong. Flexor. Okay, so that was great. This is a lot. That's what I'm saying. This is a pretty large chapter. We got time to move into the next one? We do. So cardiovascular system. That's what we're going to do next. We're going to go to 10B. No, I'm going to skip that one, do that one last, because that one is definitely going to make more sense if we do that last. So we'll go to the nervous system, 102B.8. Okay, so let me get this one pulled up. 102B.8. Some little fun facts about your nervous system. The speed of a message transmission to the brain can be as high as 250 miles per hour. It is thought that a yawn works to send more oxygen to the brain, therefore working to cool it down and wake it up. And most people dream about 1 to 2 hours a night and have an average of 4 to 7 dreams per night. I think that's true. How many dreams do you have?
I don't remember my dreams anymore.
Yeah,
Probably it's gonna be one dream, but large. It comes with different histories. No,
yeah, some people dream a lot and remember them.
I
right?
do dream a lot.
You remember them?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just kind of vaguely remember little things during the day and I'm like, was that true or did I dream that?
Yeah.
You know?
Mhm.
It could get really confusing sometimes. Okay, so here's your nervous system. What do we need to know about that? Well, we need to know that our nervous system is composed of 3 parts. Yeah, how many thoughts do you have a day? Geez, a million, huh? More than a million, probably billions. Okay, I'm doing theory. Okay. What are you doing?
I just want to how do I get those pictures for the college? Like I'm trying to put up 15.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll have to show you in a
Okay.
minute. Okay, so neuroscience is the study of the nervous system. That's one of those things that doesn't have an ology at the end of it. There's a few of them. So your nervous system is divided into 3 divisions. We have our central or cerebral, we have our peripheral, and we have our autonomic. And these are the 3 different types of nervous systems that we have. Now remember, our body is made to work together. So sometimes when we have problems with one area, it can affect other areas also. But our central nervous system is composed of our brain, our spinal cord, and our spinal and cranial nerves. This is like the main control system of us. And these are primary components right here: brain, spinal cord, spinal, and cranial nerves. All right. So the brain, right? This is our command center, basically. This controls our nervous system. It's the command center. It weighs 45 to 49 ounces, which is approximately 3 to 4 pounds. If you go like this, your hands like this is the size of your brain, right? So if you take this and you try to put it in your head, yeah, it's basically the size of your brain. And then this is supposed to be the size of your heart. So 1 fist, 2 fists, brain weighs approximately 3 to 4 ounces. Your spinal cord originates in the base of the brain and extends to the base of spine. Okay, there's spinal nerves that go along there, and they hold 31 pairs of spinal nerves. This is why you feel so much stuff in your back, right? Because you have 31 pairs of nerves. You got all these muscles back there. It goes from the base of your brain all the way down to your base of your spine, where the command center's coming out and all this stuff is happening. Okay, so that's our central nervous system. Then we have our peripheral nervous system. Our peripheral nervous system here has these cells. This goes from, okay, so the nervous system is composed of sensory and motor nerve cells that go from the brain and the spinal cord to other parts of your body. Okay, so sensory nerves. Our sensory nerves are going to tell us if something is hot, cold, you know, if somebody's touching you, if it hurts. I mean, this is what our sensory nerves are going to do. It goes with all of our senses. Where our motor nerves are movement. Our motor nerves are what, you know, what moves us around. So what we have here is these cells. So once our brain and our spinal cord tells us what's going on, these nerves and these nerve cells are expanding out to other parts of our body. And just like any other cell, there's parts to these cells. So what we have is a nerve cell or a neuron. Okay, it has a nucleus, a cytoplasm, and a membrane, just like the regular cells that we're making up tissues that make our body, right? So these are different than other cells due to these long and short thread-like fibers called axons, and they also have dendrites. These two different things is what makes them different because they extend from the cell. So these axons take the information away from the cell body in the form of a nerve impulse, right? And then these dendrites bring the information to the cell body. So if something's touching us and it's hot, that axon is going to pick it up and that dendrite's going to shoot it out to us and say like, oh, hot, don't touch it. The body is a very complex thing. It's so amazing to me, all the stuff that our bodies can do. So these nerve fibers, they're kind of whitish. They bundle together and they're held together by that connective tissue, which is one of the types of tissue that we have in our body. So there you go, carry messages to and from the central nervous system. We have our nerve cells. Axons take information away from the cell, where dendrites bring information to the cell. So we have two different types of nerves, okay, sensory and motor. So the interaction of a sensory and a motor nerve is called a reflex. So, you know, we do get reflexes, right? Like we touch something that's hot, we're going to jerk our hand away really fast. We cut ourselves, we're going to jerk our hand away really fast. You know, we have these different types of motor and sensory nerves together. It's called a reflex. So sensory nerve and motor nerve, those are the two types we have, also known as efferent and afferent. It's not on here. Okay, so Sensory nerves or afferent, A-F-F-E-R-E-N-T. These carry messages to the brain and to the spinal cord. Okay, that's what they do. Motor or efferent, E-F-F-E-R-E-N-T, carry messages from the brain to the muscles and the glands. Okay. So receptors, they're known as like these sensory nerve endings. They're going to respond to temperature, sight, sound, taste, smell, pain, pressure. They take all that to our brain. So when you take a drink of something, if you like it or you don't like it, this is your receptor on your sensory or your afferent nerve that's taking it to your brain to tell you, oh yeah, I like this, or oh no, I don't like this. Okay, then the same thing. When the brain sends messages to my hand to pick this up and take a drink of it, that's my motor nerve or my efferent nerve working, along with my muscles to go ahead and pick that up. So signals from the right side of the brain go to the left side of the body, and signals from the left side of the brain go to the right side of the body. Okay, so of course, like I said, all of this stuff works together. Okay, so now we go to these face, head, and neck nerves. So there's three that they want us to know about. The first one is the trifacial nerve, which is the fifth cranial nerve. We have the fifth cranial nerve, the seventh cranial nerve, and the 11th cranial nerve that they want us to know about. So the fifth is the largest. It's known as the trifacial. This one has three branches that it divides off to. Okay, so these three branches are going to be the ophthalmic. And in that ophthalmic, you have your supraorbital, your supratracheal, and your inferior tracheal, and your nasal. And then the second one is the maxillary. So notice it says ophthalmic. I always think of eyes, right? That's the top third of your face. Your maxillary is your upper jaw. So here you have the middle third of your face, where you have your zygomatic, which is your cheeks, your infraorbital, which is forgot about that. Infraorbital is lower eyelid, sides of the nose, upper lip, and mouth. And then you have your mandibular, which is the lower third. Mandible is your lower jaw. Okay, this has your auriculotemporal, which is your ear and your temple, basically, and your mental, which is your chin. Okay, your supraorbital on the top, I didn't tell you what those were. That's the upper eyelid, eyebrow, forehead, and scalp. Your supratracheal is your upper sides of the nose between the eyes. Your infratracheal is the skin of the upper eyelids and sides of the nose. And then your nasal is the tip of the nose and the lower side of the nose. So just remember those three, right? Mandibular goes with the lower jaw, the maxillary is the middle of your face, and the ophthalmic is the top third. Okay. Then you get to your facial nerve, which is known as your seventh cranial. This one is your posterior auricular, your temporal, your zygomatics, your buccal, and your marginal mandibular. Okay, so what this one is, it is the muscles of the face. This is why they want you to know this one. This one controls the muscles of your face. The facial nerve itself, which is your fifth, which is the largest, also known as the trigeminal. This is motor functions. Okay, so that's your motor functions. This is the facial nerves that controls the muscles. Okay, so your posterior auricular is behind your ear. Your temporal is your temple area. Your zygomatic is your cheek area. Your buccal is like your jaw area. That goes with your buccinator. And then your marginal mandibular is part of your lower jaw. And your cervical is the back of your neck. That's where your cervical vertebrae is. And then the 11th nerve is known as the accessory nerve. I don't know why they want us to know about that, because it doesn't really have much on it, but it's also known as the accessory nerve. And that's pretty much all the book says about it. Okay, so then we're going to go to the nerves of the hand. These go right along with your bones, right? And you have your ulnar, pinky side, radial's thumb side, medium's middle, and then digital is your fingers. So it kind of goes along with your bones, right along with that. The same thing when we get to the legs and the feet. Sciatic, it's, you know, like your lower back thing. Your tibia is your largest bone in your leg. That's your, no, it's not, sorry. The tibia is the knee. Sorry, I had that one wrong. The common peroneal runs along the sciatic nerve from the femur to the butt. Okay. The deep peroneal is a branch of the common peroneal. Superficial peroneal is a branch of the common peroneal. The dorsal sits closer to the skin than the deep nerve and becomes the dorsal nerve. The saphenous starts at the thigh, or begins at the thigh, and then the cerebral runs down the back of the leg to the outside of the foot. Okay, so that's pretty much it on your peripheral nervous system. The next one is the automatic or autonomic nervous system, and we'll start with that one tomorrow, because pretty much those are all like sensory ones. These are involuntary ones. So you have your central one that does everything. You have your peripheral that is all of your movements and our senses. And then we have our autonomic, which is our involuntary, which is pretty much our digestive system. It's going to cover our digestive system, our excretory system, respiratory system, and endocrine system, but we'll get on that one tomorrow. So do you guys have any questions? No? All right. Do you have a question, Dulce?
No.
Okay. All right. So you guys have a good day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
All right, Ms. Connie.
Right. Thank you.